2026 promises to be a great year for EV enthusiasts. There are a lot of new EVs coming out, and some of them are pretty wild. So stick around with me while I break down the top 5 most interesting EVs coming out for 2026. Let's get started right now. Hi, this is Rich, and welcome to Wings, Wheels, and Wires. So every year we get the release of a couple new EVs. Most of them are nice, but not particularly exciting. They fit in the category usually of 5-seat compact SUV with somewhere between 250 and 300 miles of range. Nothing really interesting. Though in 2025, we did get a couple new electric pickup trucks and 3-row SUVs. For me, the highlights of 2025 were probably the release of the Model Y refresh and the Lucid Gravity. But hey, you let me know down below what you think the most interesting vehicles of 2025 were. As great as 2025 was, 2026 promises to be even better. There are some pretty interesting and exciting EVs coming out next year. And what we're going to do is break down the top 5 most interesting EVs from least interesting to most interesting, starting with number 5.
Number 5.
The Honda Zero is expected to come out in late 2026 and cost about $50,000. Supposedly it's going to have a range of about 300 miles, which at that price and range is going to put it right in the pack of main competitors. So how did it make this list? Well, honestly, the looks. The concept for this vehicle looks futuristic and pretty cool. And if this is what the vehicle actually looks like when it is released, it will really stand out, which could make it sell really well. That said, the version that they are having media folks drive looks more like this, which is sad for a couple reasons. Reason one being that the possibility of it getting from this to its final design, going through validation testing and all the rest in production before the end of 2026 seems kind of unlikely. It is also sad because if this ends up being the final look of the vehicle, I don't think it's going to stand out. And because of that, I don't think it's going to sell particularly well. And chances are it's going to do even more poorly than the Prologue is doing right now, which did sell well when it first came out. But in November, sales dropped 86% on this vehicle. Now, I know the EV tax credit going away contributed to this, but even with that in account, that is a pretty big drop.
Number 4.
Lucid makes some of the best EV hardware on the market. Their battery systems and electric motors are incredibly efficient. Their vehicles are nice, though they are large and expensive. That's why their upcoming 2026 midsize SUV makes this list. I think it's going to have all these great features mixed in with a smaller and cheaper platform. Even though the vehicle is going to be right in the most competitive 5-seat SUV category and will probably be more expensive than its competition, I still think it's going to do well. And this is because its stats are really going to make it stand out. It's likely to have class-leading speed, performance, charging speed, range. So I think this is really going to help it stand out. The only part that actually concerns me with this vehicle is whether or not it actually qualifies for this list. You see, they're claiming it's going to be released in late 2026. But since all we have of the vehicle so far is this promo photo, I have no clue how close or far they are from actually being into production, and they may not make it for 2026. Before we continue down our list, there's a couple of honorable mentions I want to throw in here. The first one being the Chevy Bolt, which is supposed to be re-released in 2026. Now, with a range of only 255 miles, this vehicle is far from exciting. But with a starting price of only $28,595, this makes EV ownership more accessible to people in lower income ranges, which is something we honestly need. Also, there is the Aptera, which would absolutely be on this list in whatever year it is finally released, though I don't know when that will be. Go ahead and put down in the comment section below if you'd like me to do a video about the Aptera and the great things about it, and also why I think it's in some serious trouble.
Number 3.
Next up on our list is the Rivian R2S. Now, I gotta say, the last thing the world needs is another mid-size 5-seat SUV, but Rivian gets a pass on this one for a couple reasons. First off, because it's not the first EV they've made. They've had EVs for quite a while, so adding to their lineup makes perfect sense. And also, they get a pass because this vehicle fills a spot that they desperately needed to fill, and that is a lower cost EV. Because while this vehicle won't exactly be cheap, it will be a whole lot cheaper than their R1 vehicles. Its price will range between $45,000 and $55,000 and give you over 300 miles of range, combined with the good quality that Rivian has become known for. Speaking of the R2, in this video, I criticized Rivian for starting with the SUV variant instead of the pickup. Admittedly, compact pickups are a lower demand segment than midsize SUVs, but it was a segment that had no competition. And even though Rivian didn't step into that arena, our number two winner sure did.
Number 2.
The Slate is expected to be released in 2026. And not only could it end up being the first compact electric pickup truck to be delivered, but it is also a master of disguise. It can be configured in an almost unlimited number of ways. And if you don't like the way it's configured now, you can just go ahead and change it relatively easily. On paper, this is the ultimate vehicle. You need it to be a pickup truck, make it a pickup truck. You need it to be an SUV, change it to an SUV. All of this with a starting price below $30,000. But what gets it is its stats, right? Its cheapest version comes in with a range of only 115 miles. And if you fork out the extra money for the larger battery, that only gives you a range of 240 miles, which makes this vehicle actually perform less impressively than the Chevy Bolt. So we'll see if this actually ends up playing out well. A similar concept was attempted with cell phones, and the company never even got off the ground. So let's see how this works for an EV. The upside is they do have the backing of Amazon, so at least they have deep pockets to absorb the losses until they find their footing. Let's see how that plays out. Now, before I get to what I think is the biggest winner for 2026, I'm going to give a shout out to what I think is the biggest loser for the year, and that is the Afeela One. The Afeela project is a joint venture between Sony and Honda. The first version of the vehicle, which will be released in 2026, is going to have a starting price of $102,900, which is just absolutely eye watering. But hey, for this price, you must get some really great stats, right? No, no, you don't. The range is going to be about 300 miles, which was great for 2023. In 2026, it's just okay. And their charge speed is supposed to be 150 kilowatts, which honestly in 2026 is going to be pretty sad. Now, what you do get, though, is arguably the longest list of tech features on any vehicle on the planet. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff, all the way down to a bulletin board across the front bumper. Now, this is really cool, but I don't think it's going to make the car sell well. We'll use my BMW i3 as an example. It's an awesome vehicle, but it didn't sell well because even though it had some crazy cool design elements to it and construction elements, at the end of the day, people just weren't going to pay a lot of money for a relatively short range vehicle. And well, let's be honest, the Afeela is going to be a whole lot of money, and 300 miles of range in 2026 isn't really all that great. And back then, there weren't even near as many options for vehicles that you have as you do today. The market has become much more competitive, so you really have to stand out as a value. And I just don't think this vehicle does that. I think it may not even make it to deliver the first car, much like the fate of the Indy One. You can check out this video, get some better insights on why that vehicle I thought was going to fail, and it did, and why I think this vehicle is going to fail. Or option two, though, is that it will actually start delivering vehicles, but demand is going to be so incredibly low that within 3 years, they're going to cancel it due to a lack of demand. But go ahead and let me know down in the comments section below. Do you think this is a good vehicle that you would buy? Do you think it's going to do well? Or do you think it's doomed like I do?
Number 1.
Now, this brings us finally to the number one vehicle on this list, which is the BMW iX3. Anyone who followed my channel recently is probably not too surprised about this. I've covered it quite a bit, and I am absolutely excited about this. This vehicle has great stats and a pretty good price, both as an electric vehicle and as a BMW. And unlike some of the startups on this list, you know that you're going to get outstanding build quality. And the closer you look at the numbers, the more impressive this vehicle becomes. So what makes me say that? Well, you see, while the iX3 is a new vehicle here in the US. In Europe, they've actually had a version of the iX3 for a while. And this new version actually has better range, faster charging, better performance, better looks. And despite all of these improvements, is actually cheaper than the 2025 version, which all by itself, that earns it a spot on this list. I mean, think about it. When is the last time you got an improved vehicle for a lower cost? What earns it the top spot is a couple of things. First off, of every vehicle on this list, this is the only one that has no question mark on whether or not it'll be released in 2026. This vehicle is, if not already, very soon will be in active production. The vehicles people are driving are the production vehicles. Things like validation and all that stuff, prototype versus final product, that's all done. The vehicle is ready to go now. The other thing that puts it at the top of this list is the range. This has probably the longest range of any vehicle on this list, probably even longer than the Lucid one that'll come out. It has a claimed 500 miles of range using the WLTP cycle. And this isn't just some hype where they say 500 and they really do 300. A tester actually optimized their driving for the longest possible range and was able to pull 626 miles of range, which is just absolutely insane, especially for a vehicle that's going to be somewhere around $50,000. And as impressive as this one vehicle is, I think it's much bigger than that. You see, this vehicle is a warning shot to the rest of the EV industry. You see, this is only the first of many vehicles they plan to release in their Nueva Clase. And it's reasonable to say that some of these vehicles might actually have more impressive stats than this one does, and could already be setting themselves up to be competitors for the number one spot on the 2027 list. A really good example of this would be their upcoming i3. No, not that i3, this i3. Now, even though I'd much rather the first i3 be the case, this will probably have either the same or very similar battery size and motor design as the iX3 on a smaller, lighter, more aerodynamic design, which means its range will probably be even better. With all that said, go ahead and hit the comment section down below. Do you agree with the order of the list? Would you have changed the order the vehicles are in? Or the vehicles you think I should have had on here that I didn't? Go ahead and put that down in the comment section below. Also, stick around for the subscriber shout out. And hey, check out this video YouTube thinks you're really going to like.
And now it's time for the subscriber shout-outs. If you'd like your own shout-out, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and either make sure your name is visible or put in the comments down below that you subscribed.
HD Werner, Digital Matrix IO, Tyrone Davis 4, thanks for subscribing.